A return 8 seasons in the making. Chris Paul will be making his reintroduction with the Clippers later this afternoon, and both of you guys are going to be in attendance for CP3's press conference. Mark, when you think about what you're going to talk to CP3 about, what is the biggest question that you have for him?
Well, he had an interview with the amazing journalist friend of ours, Jamel Hill, in July, where he said at the most a year. He's 40 years old, and like there's expectations that this will be his last season, but I'm hearing that. Don't expect him to say that at the press conference today. You got to remember at the time when he spoke to Jamel, he didn't know where he was going just yet. Playing in a Los Angeles Clippers uniform is different. You could actually commute to your house instead of taking a private jet to your house. You could go to your son's game. You could go to your daughter's events. And they got their stuff going on too, so they ain't got time for daddy all the time.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that he's in a Clippers uniform gives it a different dynamic where maybe it could add another year to his career. And you're talking about a guy who's a vegan. He's in Lucas shape, right? He's in great shape, right? So wearing that uniform, and I think it also solidifies that he will be the first guy to get his jersey retired as a Clipper. Maybe it gives him some extra life to even go beyond 41.
Yeah, I think because of the way they're going to use him, it won't necessarily put so much taxing demands on his body. So maybe he can extend it. You're talking about a team that obviously the ball is going to be in James Harden's hand as the primary playmaker. You have Bogdanovich, you have Chris Dunn, and so Chris Paul, well, I don't think we relied on night in, night out. We actually might see the first time in his career that he gets a DNP CD. It's never happened in his career. The only time he's missed a game is because of injury. He played 82 games last year. But, when you look at this Clippers roster construction, there might not be a night in, night out demand for Chris, which, one, could certainly help him stay fresh throughout the season. And two, if he stays fresh, of course they're going to trust him in a playoff situation.
Well, in the fourth quarters.
In the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think he'll be special. He's played with James already. He's not played with Kawhi, but I think the one thing that the Clippers are getting in him is I remember watching those Lakers teams with Kobe and Shaq early on, and guys like, Ron Harper and Brian Shaw, they got them to the finish line to win games.
That's right.
I could see Chris playing that role in the fourth quarter, even if he didn't play much, but coming in fourth quarter, tight games, getting them to the finish line to victories.
So you think this new role that he's going to be playing with the Clippers will allow him to play a few more years in the league?
Yeah.
42, 43?
Why not? It's easier. He's a family guy. He's about his kids.
Yeah.
And now he could touch his kids every day.
Yeah.
So I think that makes a difference. If this was, a different uniform outside of the LA area, I would think differently. But being that he's home.
Yeah.
And your biggest issue is commuting from the Valley.
Yeah.
It's possible.
You also got the number 3 from Bradley Beal. So just conjuring up a lot of nostalgia for Lob City as well for people that were Clippers fans back then. Again, CP3 will address the media today, but he will be also sitting down with our Malika Andrews, and you can catch that interview tomorrow right here on NBA Today. Let's talk about something that Chris's new teammate just learned. Young Hansen has been having a pretty good summer. He was selected number 16 overall by the Memphis Grizzlies. Then he was traded to the Trailblazers, and as a Blazer, at Summer League, he averaged almost 11 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 blocks per game. Now, he is teaching trash talk to Kawhi Leonard. Yes. Take a listen to this.
How you been liking the NBA?
这边快，这边又跟兔子一样。
Yeah, extremely fast though. Can you give me some phrases?
伦纳你好，
That's your last name.
Leonardo?
Big dumb.
How you talk trash?
你防不了我，
From Uliala?
吵吧。
It's a big dummy.
I need some in-person coaching for that.
啊，那边兔子做的很好吃。
I'll try some rabbit. Man, if you got some free time, let's get in the gym. Have some shooting contests. When I head out there, I'm gonna hit you up.
Keep in touch.
What's that mean?
Keeping.
Oh, keep in touch.
Not him speaking English, and Kawhi can't now understand English. Mark, how much trash talk does Kawhi Leonard talk?
He's like a robot on the floor. That's the most I've ever seen him talk.
Right.
Get these two guys a podcast. I think that would be special. I ain't never seen him show. People that play with him, and Dave knows this, always tell me about how much personality and how fun and how cool he is behind the scenes, and he doesn't show it to us, but that's great. Get those two guys together.
You would listen to that podcast?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
About 5 minutes long per episode, but yeah.
We got to this point by young Hansen's dad talking trash to him. He told the Washington Post that basically, my dad told me when I was a kid, I was a little chubby, like, you better pick up a sport or you're going to be fat. And I don't want to be fat. So thank you for Young's father.
Could you
Talk some
imagine?
trash talk, so now we get the trash talk with him.
Could
I heard
you
somebody
imagine?
online saying that you pronounce his name like, say, Young and Handsome real fast.
Young and handsome?
Oh,
Okay.
there we go.
But you saying that, can you imagine him being 7'1" and out of shape?
I mean, we've seen it in the
That's
NBA.
true. That's very
I can name probably
very true.
a laundry list of guys that look like that.
Kevin Pelton released his grades for all 30 teams offseason so far. And coming in at the top of the class are the Hawks and the Rockets with A's, while the Nuggets came in just behind with an A-. Mark, in your opinion, what would you give an A grade, or what team would you give an A grade for their offseason?
I'm going to give Jeff Weltman some love with the Orlando Magic. I think he certainly is deserving of an A. I mean, making that trade for Desmond Bane, and Orlando's known for being quiet, that was something I wasn't expecting. That was aggressive. Paolo basically after the season told Jeff, told management, look, man, we need some shooting, we need some added depth, we need some guards. And they did that. They got Desmond Bane, who's going to bring leadership, shooting, defense, toughness. They got Tyus Jones. That was a sneaky move, too, to get another veteran guard. Re-signed Banchero, re-signed, to get drafted Jace Richardson, Wagner re-signed. Like, I really like what the Magic are doing, and they're a sleeper contender in the Eastern Conference. Like,
It's wide open.
don't play with Paolo.
No.
I think Paolo's an MVP candidate next season.
All due respect to Kevin Pelton, I got to take that minus away from Denver. I think Denver's had a tremendous offseason to be able to get Campaign, who had finals experience in Phoenix, a prototypical 3-and-D wing in today's game. They keep their core of their three best championship players. I know you had to part with Michael Porter Jr. to do so, but you still have Joker, you still have Gordon, you still have Murray, and Christian Brown's only going to get better. I just think they had a pretty good playoff run that was cut short, and I think we're going to see them. They gave OKC as much as they could handle.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be right there next to OKC in the top of the Western Conference standings this year, thanks to their offseason moves.
All right, we'll see if they're able to give them a run for their money. Now, if you're wondering, were there any franchises that got an F in Pelton's NBA summer school? There was. It was the Pelicans. Mark, what do you think of the Pelicans getting a failing grade for their offseason?
I love Kevin, but I don't love this grade. I think it's extremely unfair. When you look at this, it's all based on what could be projected in the draft next season. But if the Pelicans make the playoffs, like, what's this pick, right? Like, it could certainly be a moot point. It doesn't account for getting Jordan Poole. It doesn't account for getting a guy in the locker room that you could sit next to Zion, a vet, and Kevon Looney. Getting him to leave the Warriors to come there and be in your locker room, and getting that sensational Jeremiah. Jeremiah's going to be a star, I think, a future star, Jeremiah Fears. So I don't know how you get an F when you're bringing in all that, and you don't, unless you could tell me that this is going to be the #1 pick next year. Kevin, I love you, but that was a really unfair grade.
I mean, listen, Troy Weaver and I go back to our Syracuse days together. Troy goes back even further with Carmelo Anthony, and he knew Carmelo Anthony from the time he was a young teenager. And when I talked to Troy about Derek Queen in Las Vegas this summer, he said he reminds me so much of Melo. Body size, a competitive nature, joy that he brings to the game, the way he relates to his teammates. Obviously, he has a little bit of an injury situation. He's going to be out with his wrist, but there's still plenty of rookie season that should be there for him to take advantage of when he gets there. And, I mean, listen, Troy Weaver has a very strong track record of identifying talent and having them be able to translate to the next level.
John Morant has missed 35% of the possible games he could have played in his NBA career. That includes missing nearly 40% of Memphis's games last season and nearly 90% of the team's games 2 seasons ago. Dave, you caught up with John at Summer League and his thoughts on the West. Take a listen.
I'm always confident in us. My mindset now is just, make sure I'm out there and available. And I feel like, when I'm out there on the floor, we got opportunity versus any team. So it's a lot of talent in the West, but yeah.
But I mean, it's the Western Conference. Dave, do you still believe that the Memphis Grizzlies can have a chance to be a contender in the West?
They are a contender for a play-in spot. But the last time we saw Ja at the peak of his powers, we were talking about the Grizzlies being a contender for it all. They were the number 3 seed in the West. They got upset by the Lakers in the first round back in 2023. And a lot has changed since then. The conference is different. His coach is different. His teammates are different. Mark was talking about the great moves by Orlando this offseason because they went and got Desmond Bane, who's been such a big part of that team's success right alongside Ja Morant. Listen, they still have talent. We're talking about Zach Edey. We're talking about Jaren Jackson Jr., obviously. Some of the younger players coming up, Jalen Wells, etc. However, this has got to be like a prove-it type of season for Ja, I would think, Mark.
Don't we just want to see him be back to what we expected him to be or we thought he was going to be, and what he was? I mean, there was a time when he was going to be one of the top most popular players in the league, where his jersey was a hot seller, where he was a hot ticket, where he was must-see TV. Then the incidents off the court happened, then the injuries happened, and then the incidents, and then it hasn't been about basketball. I want to see this dude healthy, playing, being Ja, us getting excited about him again, watching him in the dunk contest, him being an MVP caliber guy. He is, to me, like their only hope for being special. I mean, obviously, Jaren, we know what he is.
Right.
But if they're going to compete for something higher than what you're talking about, he has to be the Ja we saw 3 years ago. Because it's kind of reminds me of Stevie Francis, where, respectfully, Stevie, seeing a guy jump to a high superstar level and then drop off the face of the earth. There's no reason why he shouldn't be one of the elite players in the league right now.
Yeah.
I'm on fire. It's NBA, it's